97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
All right, a little bit of rumble in the sky. Not going to slow us down this morning. Welcome back in. It's another brand new live edition of Talking Ball. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Scott Theisen, Drew DeArmond, and I hope, and I will say this, I am not a meteorologist by any stretch of the imagination, but I have looked at the forecast, and I believe all of this stuff will be out of here in time for several of our high schools to be back on the diamond. I think it will be.
Well, we're recording this, so if you were as wrong as some of these meteorologists are at times, then they're going to remember.
I said I was.
Well, I'm just saying.
I'm not taking my dollar to Vegas and putting it down on the table. I'm just saying I hope, because there are some game threes tonight. There's some games 1 and 2, but there are some game threes tonight. A big one over at Bob Jones tonight. Bob Jones and Thompson will have game 3. As they split their series yesterday, Bob Jones and Thompson, they will play Game 3 today, supposedly at 4:30. James Clemens and Hoover will not be playing a Game 3. James Clemens takes care of Hoover last night on the road, 2-0.
That's awesome.
Of course, Hoover led by former Grissom head coach Adam Mosley.
And we love Mosley, but, I mean, good for James Clemens. Yep. I mean, if Bob Jones can get a win today, and they have a shot if this weather break you're talking about actually occurs, because they have turf, and and their field house probably has air conditioning. Anyway,
the air does not feel like it's on once again in the studio.
Again! But, I mean, whatever.
It's only been 4 days this week.
Talent, Heating, and Air, where are you?
If we could have power and get them, we would.
Yeah, we would. But, look.
They went on the cheap.
Because, Bob Jones has the capability with their facility of getting this in. Now, it was as advertised. It was a Donnybrook of a doubleheader last night. Bob Jones wins game 1 to go to 39-6. It's 5-3, and they led 3-0. And and of course we knew that the Thompson Warriors would fight. And they did, and then Thompson came back, won the second game 7-6. So, I mean, it's we got a game 3. I think it's slated for 5.
4:30.
Now it's 4:30.
The website has 4:30 on here, so I could. I mean,
so 4:30.
They've been known to be wrong.
No. I mean, Bob Jones does a great job with their social media. Now, I don't know if they could move it up or whatever due to the weather and how it looks, but right now 4:30, and so That would be a tremendous for this area if Bob Jones wins. Now, it's going to be Thompson's a hell of a program. We enjoyed having Frankie Perez on yesterday, but if that happened, it would be, a rematch of Bob Jones and James Clemens at Bob Jones, because Bob Jones won the area.
For the right, though, to go to
the
championship.
finals. I mean, this would be a semifinal.
Everything
would be on the line.
The whole town of Madison.
I mean,
it would be huge.
It would be off the wall.
Class 6A, Hartzell sweeps Athens yesterday, 2-0.
No hitter in game 1.
Yeah. By the way, Hartzell is pretty good at baseball.
Yeah.
Russellville and Springville.
Death taxes and William Booth.
Yeah, Springville knocks out Russellville in 2 games yesterday.
Yeah.
Alexandria bounces Sardis 2-1. That series is over with. Whitesburg Christian Academy, they split their series with Red Bay yesterday. Whitesburg would win game 1 2-0. They would fall 3-0 in game 2. So game 3 is set for today at doesn't have a time, but it is at Whitesburg Christian. I do know that, but I don't know the time on that one. And then Mars Hill Bible will begin their series with Vincent today. Summerton Christian bounces Hackleburg in 2 games. So that is some of the high school baseball that was played yesterday. Quarterfinal action on the diamond. 256-576-4977. That's how you can be a part of the program, be a part of the show this morning. The thing about springtime, summertime is, yes, we have a softball regional play getting ready to begin over in Florence. We have got oodles of North Alabama teams getting ready to play there. State track is going on right now, and the soccer playoffs are going on right now as well. We will try to update you throughout the time as we can with everything around there. But you also get college football coaches making the rounds. The rubber chicken tour is what they call it. Kalen DeBoer was in Mobile yesterday.
Yes.
And here is what he had to say about assessing his team after spring, after getting to watch everything, and how he feels about his team after spring football.
I mean, I think most importantly, I like our attitude, our energy, the effort we put forth. We have a team first, I think, mindset right now when it comes to guys across the board. These guys are here for a reason. Yes, they want to develop themselves individually, but they want to win a championship. And so it's been pretty apparent as we went through the spring exactly what their focus is. We got better each and every day, and that's all you can ask. And that leads into good momentum going into the summer here. These guys get a couple weeks away, kind of just ease their mind and refresh their mind and their body, and then we'll hit the ground running come June.
So that was what he felt about his team after spring. And the one thing he also talked about, Drew DeArmond, was the fact that the transfer portal window is closed and just how much room this team has as far as bringing players in, all that stuff. Here's the coach on the transfer portal.
Yeah, the portal closes, so no one really can enter. But there's guys that we're working through that we will, we have visits or we'll have visits, trying to get them set to come to campus. And so I think in the end, I feel good about the direction we're going with our making the roster better, improving the roster, and that's what it's about. We don't have a lot of spots that we can fill from a scholarship standpoint, but every one of them is important for this fall, and I think our roster will be improved when we are done, when you take the additions and the subtractions and see where we're at when it comes this fall.
There you go.
I like the last part, the subtractions. Get out. You know what I'm saying? Some of these cats got to go. And we've talked about that some already. Some of them can't play dead in the B Western anyway. And I just think you need to upgrade in some, just like the basketball team's upgrading. And one of those visits has already been canceled, and young man's going to play for Wild Turkey and Lane Kiffin. And that's going to be Isaiah Hamilton of Houston.
Right.
He canceled his visit to Alabama. It looks as though he's going to go on a visit to the Rebels, and is he going to commit there? So that odyssey is over for that corner, and his championship aspirations are very likely over as well. I hope he gets his money. And, I mean, look, Ole Miss ain't winning the national championship. I'm sorry. Get over it. But and then Wake Forest
Really?
Corner Deshaun Jones, he is coming in on Saturday. I do think Alabama has high interest there in that young man, that corner. But let me just say, I guess I should say tentatively, because yesterday afternoon, around 3 or 4, is when the Hamilton situation, the new info came out that he had spoken to Ole Miss and decided to change his visit via Western Union. And go to the Rebels. But I mean, all these guys are looking for their NIL. But again, Isaiah Hamilton will not be visiting Alabama. He will be a Rebel. Deshaun Jones is visiting, but Alabama's pivoted, and they've pivoted throughout the process.
Right.
They set up another visit for King Mack
from Penn State,
who has 3 years of eligibility left. He was a freshman at Penn State last year. He has gone into the transfer portal. He has set plans to visit Alabama. So it looks as though, to me, if you read the tea leaves, that Alabama is still looking for a couple of pieces in their secondary, guys that have played Power 5 football, that have some experience, because they have so many guys that are talented, like the Red Morgans, like Dre Kirkpatrick Jr., Jalen Mbakwe, Zay Mincy, all these young corners that they've got that are extremely talented. Zabian Brown, they're five-star level talents, but they don't have a lot of experience. So Alabama trying to add some experience. They've already got Keon Sabb. They've already added Damani Jackson. But, I mean, the numbers don't lie. When you look at it, they've lost double-digit guys in the secondary when you count NFL draft, which is Kool-Aid and Terrion Arnold. And then they've lost a lot of depth to the portal. And so that is why they're trying to still add numbers to their secondary. And so I think that they don't have any visits lined up as of yet for any offensive linemen. There has been a few go in the portal from Michigan State. There has been one from Buffalo. So we'll see if any of those guys matriculate to Tuscaloosa for a visit. Pretty much the way I look at it, though, is, and it's the way it is in basketball as well, if you set up a visit with said player, it's for the reason that you're going to get offered. I mean, okay, they have high interest in you. You have high interest in said place. That's why you're going on this visit. So I think Alabama, again, secondary, offensive line, but we haven't seen any visits. Now they do have a linebacker slated to visit, Khalil Jacobs. Khalil's been very busy this week. The South Alabama linebacker, the former South Alabama Jaguar. He has already visited Missouri, and I believe he was in Auburn yesterday. And so he's been offered by both of those programs. He has not committed to said programs. And for now, his visit is still on to Tuscaloosa as well. So, and he played for Kane Womack his whole career until Kane took this job at Alabama. So you would think if Alabama's bringing him in, there's high interest on their end also.
Let's go out to the phone lines. Mark from Spring Hill is with us this morning. Good morning, Mark.
Hey, morning, guys.
Morning.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Just a quick, it's way too early for predictions for the playoffs, but I thought about Coach Saban when he lost to, I guess it's Louisiana Monroe, the story about going to the gas station, right? And y'all have heard that one where the guy says, as long as Nick Saban's here, we'll never win a championship.
That must be Jeff's cousin.
Well, if you haven't heard that story, it's a pretty good one he's told. But with DeBoer, to me, I look at this. I mean, it took Saban 3 years, but it had to take 1 year just to run off all the deadbeats that were there. Okay, people that just shouldn't have been there ever. And DeBoer, I do like that. I do think, and what I'm hearing too, is that there's players that he doesn't mind, shifting them on, and you got to have that to be a champion. But do you think making the playoffs this year for Alabama is that a success for this first year? Alabama head coach DeBoer. And then my second question, follow up, I hang up and listen, is if he wins one in the first 3 years, tell me about what your thoughts are on that, and I'll hang up and listen.
I just, all I'll say is I think making the playoffs is the floor. I mean, it's a 12-team playoff. Alabama has the resources and the talent to easily be a top 12 team.
Because you're thinking, 3 teams from the SEC probably get into the playoffs,
minimum
right?
3, potentially 4.
So you just got to say, are you one of the 3? That's the thing. You're going to get 3 probably from the league, 2 for sure, 3 possibly.
And it's a very tough league, especially with the additions of Texas and Oklahoma this year. But I still think Alabama getting to the playoff is the floor.
Right.
And then again, predictions when you haven't even seen a team play under a coach, that's very hard to do. But when you just look at the roster and that he's accumulated, and again, I'm not saying that. Look, this program was not broken or in need of repair when we took this over.
Right.
Nick Saban got this team to the playoff, the 4-team playoff, and the semifinals, and nearly beat Michigan. It was a play away or so of doing so. But it's a different style, and styles make fights, and Kalen DeBoer is going to do his thing. He brought in his coaching staff, but here's the thing. all I'll say is in the portal era, when you have all this freedom of movement and come and go,
Right.
it works both ways. I mean, sometimes a kid can go somewhere else and get a bigger NIL payout, but the coach can also move a kid on. I mean, that's the thing. You can't sit there and want freedom of movement and want to get paid and want a piece of the pie and then complain if you're cut, okay? Now, we've talked about Deion and all those guys and the way they've done it, and I still don't like the way it looks from the outside, but I'm not on the inside. I still don't like the way it looks like it's being run. But again, it's one of those things where the players have all the power to a degree, but the coaches still have some too. Like, you know what? You're not producing, you're getting paid, quote unquote, NIL, well, or you're being a problem in the locker room.
Yeah.
Let's just be honest. That's what happened with Quinshon Judkins and Ole Miss. This was a mutual divorce. Quinshon wanted more money, and Ole Miss was tired of it. And so they let him go to Ohio State. So
sounds like the NFL to me.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a business, man.
Oh, it is.
Okay.
College football
it's become
now
a business.
is a business.
So the players can't have their cake and eat it too. Don't complain if you get cut, okay? And then they want you to go somewhere else. Because there's so many that want to cut and run and don't even, they sign with a school in January and then they bail out in April when they're not first team or something like that, or they get a bigger NIL offer.
We've seen
guess
that.
what? If your attitude's not good and you're not making an impact on the depth chart and the coach comes to you and says, "Hey, dog, I need to upgrade," part of it, man. Grow up and go find somewhere else.
Yeah.
I mean,
you're not going to play.
You want to be treated like a grown man, then you're going to be treated like one. You know what I'm saying? And guess what?
I think that was a lot of the problem, and I don't want to keep bringing up Colorado, but there was that article that came out. I think that is a lot of the problem. I think that was a lot of the problem with Colorado is that I think a lot of people got their feelings hurt just because they were told you're not good enough to play because I want to go get better players.
Yeah.
And their feelings were hurt. And that's going to happen a lot more often now in college football because when you are paying a guy, when your school is paying him $150,000, $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 in NIL money to produce, you expect them to produce.
Well,
and if they're not, they're going to go get somebody else that can.
And it's good. That's where the regulation is going to come in because I've seen people saying on social media players aren't getting what they were promised. Well, I mean, in some situations there may not be written contracts, or if they are, let's just say they're not worth the paper they're written on, like a legal document. Everything's probably going to have to be legalized, and that's why you're hearing from the Ross Dellingers and the Brandon Marcellos and College Football Insiders that there's a revenue sharing plan already being discussed.
Right. No, there is because there's that lawsuit that's in the House right now. They've come up to sort of an agreement or a settlement where they will pay almost, it's like $22-something million or $1 billion. It's going to be revenue sharing, and the athletes will get part of the TV money, the revenue sharing, and all this other stuff. Schools have already put money aside for this, they say, because they were in anticipation of it. It's a big thing. Let's get a break in. Because when we come back, though, speaking of Alabama football and the shoes that Kalen DeBoer has to follow, it's Nick Saban's shoes. Nick Saban sat down yesterday in a very candid conversation. We'll hear a couple clips from this. It'll make you laugh or whatever, too. Social media and a freshman that did something he shouldn't have did.
You're listening.
97.7 ESPN The Zone is the Tennessee Valley's #1 destination for the finest in sports talk all day long. Tune in to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond each morning at 7. Then, the Morning Blitz with Captain Cool and the Bandy Man. At noon, it's the Tom Abraham Show. Followed by Paul Feinbaum and The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. The Zone is also your home for University of Alabama and UAH Sports, plus the Atlanta Braves and the High School Sports Streaming Network. And sister station Talk Radio WZZN has Trash Pandas action with Josh Carey all season long. 97.7 ESPN The Zone and Talk Radio WZZN. Listen on the air or download the apps and take them with you everywhere. 97.7 ESPN The Zone is the Tennessee Valley's #1 destination for the finest in sports talk all day long. Tune in to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond each morning at 7. Then, the Morning Blitz with Captain Cool and the Bandy Man. At noon, it's the Tom Abraham Show, followed by Paul Feinbaum and The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. The Zone is also your home for University of Alabama and UAH sports, plus the Atlanta Braves and the High School Sports Streaming Network. And sister station Talk Radio WZZN has Trash Pandas action with Josh Carey all season long. 97.7 ESPN The Zone and Talk Radio WZZN. Listen on the air or download the apps and take them with you everywhere. 97.7 ESPN The Zone is the Tennessee Valley's #1 destination for the finest in sports talk all day long. Tune in to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond each morning at 7. Then, the Morning Blitz with Captain Cool and the Bandy Man. At noon, it's the Tom Abraham Show, followed by Paul Feinbaum and The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. The Zone is also your home for University of Alabama and UAH sports, plus the Atlanta Braves and the High School Sports Streaming Network. And sister station Talk Radio WZZN has Trash Pandas action with Josh Carey all season long. 97.7 ESPN The Zone and Talk Radio WZZN. Listen on the air or download the apps and take them with you everywhere.
My clients talk to me.
And me. I'm attorney Justin Lackey. We're the ones that you talk to. We're the ones that you meet with.
And we're the ones who handle your personal injury case. You want to talk to me? You just call me.
And we'll take care of it. You worry about getting well. We'll take care of the rest.
The Lackey Law Firm.
And I'll go you one better. If you can't come to us, we'll come to you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Are you tired of chasing a roofing contractor to show up on time, or even show up at all? I'm Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Our motto at Fleming Roofing is we show up. Our goal at Fleming Roofing is to provide the reliable customer service that you deserve, and we have the resources to meet all of your roofing needs: residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. We are manufacturer certified for roof coatings, single-ply membranes, and asphalt shingles. Whenever you need a roofing professional you can count on, call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We are committed to finding the solution that meets your needs. We don't have quotas or heavy-handed sales tactics. Fleming Roofing. We have expert experience. We show up. Free estimates. Residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. Check us out at FlemingHSV.com. FlemingHSV.com. When you need a quick response, it's Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Welcome back, Talking Ball.
We found the problem. We have a PSA to announce. Please,
do
not turn the thermostat up at night. Leave it alone. It needs to be 70 degrees, not 78. Wear a jacket if you have to. That's the end of the PSA.
There you go. Last one out, make sure the air is at 69.
Yeah, turn the air down, okay? If you want to turn it up, turn it down. We don't want to come into a sauna every morning. Thank you.
There we go. By the way, it's raining outside. 256-576-4977. That's the number to the phone lines.
Don't care if I offended anybody. I could give a rat's ass.
Why start now?
Because I work here full time. I have a show. Thanks.
You're welcome. 724. The mic is your platform. You use it to you use it. 256-576-4977. Hey, we got to hear from Nick Saban here in a minute. Good stuff. Very, very good stuff yesterday from the former Alabama coach. It was the Irondale Mayor's mayor's prayer breakfast, and he was the guest speaker. Funny stuff there. Let's go out to the phone lines, though, first. Crawdad is with us. Good morning, sir.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Good, Crawdad. How are you?
Good. Hey, Drew, it's just common sense. You don't mess with the thermostat.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
That's
why we had to do the PSA, man. I mean, it's just like
walk into somebody's house and mess
I
with it when you're a guest.
Yeah, we're just because we had it turned down last night. We come in this morning and it feels like it's cooler outside than it is in here.
It's not right.
That's like if you have a hot tub. That's like if you have a hot tub trying to heat it up just when you get in it. It costs a lot more to do it that way, but somebody will figure that out. Well, hey, just a little milestone for the Crawdad Countdown to Kickoff show. Every year the winner of the Army, Navy, Air Force series gets presented the Commander-in-Chief's trophy, and Army won it this year. And
yes,
myself and Steve Kripke, we got invited to the ceremony at the White House on Monday. So,
oh, wow.
We will be, no comment on the current occupant. That doesn't matter. It's about the team, and we will be up there Monday. So we'll be representing the station at the nation's capital. How about that?
Well, I'm proud for you guys and the work you've done.
Yeah, that's good.
That you guys and for Army and the way they finished the season and winning that Commander-in-Chief's trophy. It was a heck of an accomplishment, and we've been honored for the last several years to be the home of Army football and continue to be. And that's a great honor to be able to be to represent all of us in the nation's capital there, Crawdad.
And one of the interesting things is how that happened. There actually are some West Point folks who work in the White House that listen to the show online. So,
there you go.
How about that?
There you go.
There you go. Man. That's a good honor. Good honor.
And we want to congratulate Coach Ross's daughter as well for her appointment to West Point. I believe she's going to be a part of their cheer squad. That's a major accomplishment. And I believe she's going to be on scholarship and everything. I saw the announcement. I also got a call from Juice, Paul Angeheski, about that. We hope to speak to that young lady before she before she enrolls. But a great honor for her to be to be chosen.
Coach Ross's son is also on the football team up there, and
right.
Juice's son plays on the baseball team.
Yes, he does. He's doing Paul Angeheski Jr. Yeah, we had him on the show when he signed and everything. I know he's been getting some playing time, and we're very excited for his opportunity at West Point as well.
All right. See you guys later. Good show.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. That's a good honor.
Yeah, it really is.
It's a good honor.
It's a really good honor. Just wash your hands.
All right. So Nick Saban speaking at the Irondale Mayor's Prayer Breakfast yesterday. And this is good. This is good. This Coach Saban talking about one of the biggest problems that he had while he was head coach at Alabama.
But the most difficult challenge that I had as a coach in all the years was, and somebody talked about it, media, social media, and how what other people think affect people. It amazes me that some guy sits in his basement, probably in his mom's house, probably in his underwear, probably overweight, and he puts something on the internet and anybody cares about what he thinks. But it would affect our players. And I was constantly trying to get them not to be affected by external factors, what other people think. You trusting and believing and doing the right things is so much more important than what somebody else thinks. So that was one of the most challenging things, to not let external factors, and you've heard me use the term rat poison, affect what you do and how you do it.
Right.
Biggest problem, social media.
Well, I mean, it is, because people hide behind usernames. They're cowards. They call people out. They use language that's inappropriate. I mean, it's just, that's the problem with the X's and the Twitters and all that kind of stuff, because people don't have to be to bear responsibility for what they say. Now your account can be deleted, your account can be suspended, all that kind of stuff. There are some parameters, and if you go too far, you can pay for that. But, you know, again, I understand what Coach Saban is saying. And there's a lot of people with voices out there that try to make themselves be heard. But I will say this too, though, on the flip side of it. But when you start paying said player, and you become an employee and you become a paid athlete, there are some criticisms that you're going to have to stand up to. Now, I don't believe in name calling. I don't believe, in personally insulting people. No, that's not what you're trying to do, especially student athletes that you're supposed to cover. But you have to be able to also, hey, take criticism from the standpoint of if you don't play well, if your program doesn't step up, individually you might be, like I didn't think so and so, played a good, he made this mistake, he made that mistake. You've got to. Some of that is going to be constructive because it has to be. But and again, it changes when the players are paid. I'm in favor of them being paid.
Right.
But when you get paid, especially with no guardrails, and you're getting paid, some of these guys are getting paid millions. Look, man, you're going to have to be a big boy, and you're going to have to take it. Okay. And the players have all the power, and right now, and I think there's going to be they're going to meet in the middle, and they'll still have plenty of influence and plenty of say in what's going to be going on, especially if they don't change the transfer rules to the standpoint of they let you move it potentially every year. But like I said, there will be give and take with that too, with coaches and things of that nature if guys aren't producing. So especially if they're not considered like multi-year contracts,
right?
Because a lot of times
year by year now,
if it's a multi-year contract, then guys like LaDum James, he's got all the power because his contract is guaranteed and he gets X amount of coaches fired. You know what I'm saying? But if it's if they're not multi-year deals, and we don't know how it's going to shake out yet. Then if it's a year-to-year deal, and I'll say this to me, Scott, if they want to start having multi-year NIL deals, then you have to change the transfer rules, because if you sign a contract, is there an out clause for every year?
There probably is. I'd imagine, because
look, right now I don't think this is sustainable, because again, when you're paying a lot of these NIL deals are pretty much, really in theory, all of them are year to year. But it's hard to continue to fill the coffers.
When we hear $150,000 for a player, we don't know if that player is getting $150 up front.
Very doubtful. Very doubtful.
Or if that's going to be spread out, and in the wording it's going to say, you know what, you've got to be here 3 years to get $150,000, or you got to it's whatever, $25,000 a year.
Well, I think it's in installments, because I strong suspicion, because
how about this? I mean, it's going to be like the NFL. You're going to walk in from a game and you're going to have a check in your locker. Yeah, and it's going to be because you played in this game. Here is $15,000.
Well, it's like Jeff Goodman said, and this is mostly a basketball connotation, but he was saying there was going to be last-minute additions to the transfer portal because there were some guys waiting on their checks.
Well, how about Mark Pope from Kentucky last night? Had to fly up and visit a guy that was in the portal that had committed to Kentucky, but had to fly up at the last minute because the guy was all of a sudden deciding that maybe Kentucky wasn't for him. And so Mark Pope had to fly up and convince him to stay at Kentucky after coming out of the portal from another school to go to Kentucky, because he was already thinking about leaving Kentucky after committing and going to another school.
Yeah, whatever.
It's getting bad. Nick Saban also had another little thing to play. Let's hear from Coach after we get back from break. Let's see if you can guess who the player was that Coach was talking about.
.97.7 ESPN The Zone is the Tennessee Valley's #1 destination for the finest in sports talk all day long. Tune in to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond each morning at 7. Then the Morning Blitz with Captain Cool and the Bandy Man. At noon, it's the Tom Abraham Show, followed by Paul Feinbaum and The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. The Zone is also your home for University of Alabama and UAH sports, plus the Atlanta Braves and the High School Sports Streaming Network. And sister station Talk Radio WZZN has Trash Pandas action with Josh Carey all season long. 97.7 ESPN The Zone and Talk Radio WZZN. Listen on the air or download the apps and take them with you everywhere. 97.7 ESPN The Zone is the Tennessee Valley's #1 destination for the finest in sports talk all day long. Tune in to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond each morning at 7. Then, the Morning Blitz with Captain Cool and the Bandy Man. At noon, it's the Tom Abraham Show, followed by Paul Feinbaum and The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. The Zone is also your home for University of Alabama and UAH sports, plus the Atlanta Braves and the High School Sports Streaming Network. And sister station Talk Radio WZZN has Trash Pandas action with Josh Carey all season long. 97.7 ESPN The Zone and Talk Radio WZZN. Listen on the air or download the apps and take them with you everywhere. 97.7 ESPN The Zone is the Tennessee Valley's #1 destination for the finest in sports talk all day long. Tune in to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond each morning at 7. Then, the Morning Blitz with Captain Cool and the Bandy Man. At noon, it's the Tom Abraham Show, followed by Paul Feinbaum and The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. The Zone is also your home for University of Alabama and UAH sports, plus the Atlanta Braves and the High School Sports Streaming Network. And sister station Talk Radio WZZN has Trash Pandas action with Josh Carey all season long. 97.7 ESPN The Zone and Talk Radio WZZN. Listen on the air or download the apps and take them with you everywhere. 97.7 ESPN The Zone is the Tennessee Valley's #1 destination for the finest in sports talk all day long. Tune in to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond each morning at 7. Then, the Morning Blitz with Captain Cool and the Bandy Man. At noon, it's the Tom Abraham Show, followed by Paul Feinbaum and The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. The Zone is also your home for University of Alabama and UAH sports, plus the Atlanta Braves and the High School Sports Streaming Network. And sister station Talk Radio WZZN has Trash Pandas action with Josh Carey all season long. 97.7 ESPN The Zone and Talk Radio WZZN. Listen on the air or download the apps and take them with you everywhere. 97.7 ESPN The Zone is the Tennessee Valley's #1 destination for the finest in sports talk all day long. Tune in to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond each morning at 7. Then, the Morning Blitz with Captain Cool and the Bandy Man. At noon, it's the Tom Abraham Show, followed by Paul Feinbaum and The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. The Zone is also your home for University of Alabama and UAH sports, plus the Atlanta Braves and the High School Sports Streaming Network. And sister station Talk Radio WZZN has Trash Pandas action with Josh Carey all season long. 97.7 ESPN The Zone and Talk Radio WZZN. Listen on the air or download the apps and take them with you everywhere.
We heard from Nick Saban talk about the hardest thing that he had. And yesterday, he did delve into a little bit of a story. And this was about playing as a freshman. See if you can. I think I have an idea of who he's talking about, but he wouldn't say a name.
Those things and funnel them in the right direction. You know, we had a player once who was a freshman. And he started as a freshman. I'm not going to call his name. And he was a great player. And he was a great leader. But when he was a freshman, and he was a starter. Friday night, he's walking on campus. He goes by a fraternity house. He's an African-American. And somebody yells some racial slurs at him from the fraternity house, and he goes and gets in a confrontation with them. Police come, get ready to arrest him. But they call me instead, so they bring the guy to me. And I tell him, I said, look, you can't be a part of the team here. You can't represent the University of Alabama. You can't represent our program and get in confrontations with people regardless of the circumstance. And he comes across the table and he says, in my neighborhood, when somebody calls you a name like that, you're going to, sort of straighten them out and prove your manhood, and that's not going to happen. And I said, I agree with you. It should never happen. You're right. But you're going to be a first-round draft pick. First-round draft pick. You're going to make $30 million when you become a first-round draft pick. If that cop would have taken you and given you an assault charge, you would be a third-round draft pick. And instead of making $30 million, you'd make $3 million. And even though I agree with you, is it worth $27 million to be right? And he looks at me and he says, Coach, you'll never have another problem with me again.
Yep. And remain nameless, but I know exactly what he's talking about.
Yep.
Yep. And unfortunately, he got drafted by the wrong organization, is all I'll say. If he could have been drafted by somebody like the Patriots back in that day, I think he would have been a lot better off.
Structure.
Yeah, but when you're drafted by the Raiders, and that's all I'll just say, you're doomed. And so I remember being at a function like a Crimson Caravan type thing.
Yeah.
When said player was drafted by the Raiders, and when someone turned to me and said, 8th overall to the Raiders, I was like, oh, no. Just your stomach just sank because you're just like, they have no direction. Al was, past his prime, hadn't been good in a long, long time. John Gruden certainly wasn't walking through that door at that time. Of course, the second time he walked through didn't go that well. But that's, the Raiders had kind of been a rudderless ship, man. And so it's one of those things. But Coach was right. I mean, you have to, because there are going to be some people that even try to set you up, man, because they want to get at you. They understand you're a high-profile athlete and that you are probably going to be handsomely compensated.
Right.
And they want to, get you into some kind of confrontation. So you have to, in other words, lose a chunk of your wealth, probably in a lawsuit or something of that nature. Sometimes you just have to walk away. It is tough. I understand what Coach is saying and what the student athlete went through, but yeah, man, you just sometimes have to walk away and understand that there's some people that probably can't spell what they're saying.
Well, Coach Saban talking about millions of dollars, 20 million going down to whatever. We have in college football now the first $13 million head coach.
Yeah.
Kirby Smart getting an extension and a raise.
I call him 1 in 5. That's my nickname for Kirby.
That'll see him be paid now $13 million per year with bonuses up to $1.55 million.
Well, I mean, he's got 2 national championships since 2021. There's not another coach in America that can say that now. I mean, the boogeyman retired, and so his daddy, who owned him, and only a couple of ACL injuries saved him from going 0-6. But, hey, I mean, he did beat Alabama a couple times. There's no doubt about that, or one time, I guess. And I guess he beat Alabama once, I should say. And then the other opportunity where they won a national championship, Alabama didn't do their job. Alabama didn't get in the playoff. So, and Georgia mauled, TCU. So, and they won another national championship that they earned on the field. I mean, I'm not going to argue. Look, man, salaries aren't going backwards.
Right.
Now, I will say this. Kirby making $13 million a year, he should thank Nick Saban, because Nick Saban basically he redefined the coaching profession in college and the salary structure.
Right.
And all these coaches are reaping the benefit. And Kirby, I'm not bemoaning what they paid him. They're
he
just
has
paying
63 draft picks in his first 8 seasons at Georgia.
He's done a hell of a job. I've ripped him before, but he's won 2 national titles. Now, so has Dabo Swinney, but those were a few years ago. Dabo's program has been kind of going the other way. Dabo has been slow to embrace NIL and the transfer portal. Georgia, while they aren't the most active team in the transfer portal and in NIL, as far as you don't hear them mentioned in the top 2 or 3, they do use both. Okay, and Kirby understands that, and Kirby has adapted to everything, and he's won at the highest level, and he just had a 29-game winning streak snapped.
Right. He's got 2 national titles under his belt.
I mean,
he is only 48 years old.
He was very close to having a chance to three-peat. Nick Saban was very close to doing that as well. It's very difficult to do. So if there's going to be a highest-paid coach in college football right now that Nick Saban's retired, I have no problem with it being Kirby Smart.
Nick Saban has how many national titles?
Nick Saban retired with 7. He had 6 at Alabama. So there you go.
5.
Yeah.
Kirby Smart, does he have 5? I mean, because everyone always does this, but 5 national titles in him. He's only 48 years old.
And he has 2 as a head coach.
He's got 2 right now as a head coach. He's 48 years old. You would think he could stay at Georgia for another 20 years.
Yeah.
Theoretically, I mean, does he have 5? Can he win 5 national titles?
We'll see.
In 20 years.
An expanded
and
playoff.
Have 7 titles. I mean, yeah.
And we'll see if he wants to stay in it because, look, with this money – you can retire earlier now. We don't know. It's going to be interesting in 3, 4, 5 years what the sport looks like then. Right now, a lot of the older coaches are getting out, so it's become a younger man's game. Does he have aspirations like Nick Saban did at one time in his career to go to the NFL and give it a role? I don't know. You know, I will say this: I don't expect Kirby. If he ever left, I would think it would be for the NFL.
Right.
I would not think he would leave his alma mater, Georgia. I mean, that's where he played. That's where he grew up. It's the job he always wanted. They've given him everything he wants. They finally built an indoor practice facility. For them to take advantage of. It's in a great place from the standpoint of high school football talent. That he should have every resource. I mean. It's hard for me to believe that Kirby would go to another college job.
Let's get a break in. When we come back, and wrap up hour number 1 of Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
.97.7 ESPN The Zone is the Tennessee Valley's #1 destination for the finest in sports talk all day long. Tune in to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond each morning at 7. Then, the Morning Blitz with Captain Cool and the Bandy Man. At noon, it's the Tom Abraham Show, followed by Paul Feinbaum and The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. The Zone is also your home for University of Alabama and UAH sports, plus the Atlanta Braves and the High School Sports Streaming Network. And sister station Talk Radio WZZN has Trash Pandas action with Josh Carey all season long. 97.7 ESPN The Zone and Talk Radio WZZN. Listen on the air or download the apps and take them with you everywhere.
Watch Traffic Center.
It's a beautiful day for a ball game.
Here it comes, and there it goes. Fly ball, deep left field, way back. This one is up. This one is gone.
Grab your peanuts and Cracker Jacks and get ready to cheer on the Tide.
Called third strike, a slider lower inside corner.
The Tide plays here all season long.
Here's a spin. Here's Bowman's throw home. The slide, and he's safe.
On your home for Alabama baseball, the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.
Hi, my name is Dan Aldridge. I'm here to let you know about the Aldridge Law Firm and the soon-to-be-announced Legal Town Center. I've been practicing law in Alabama since 1984, and I also practice in Tennessee. And I'm from North Alabama, and I'm here to represent you and take care of your legal needs. For many of us, hiring an attorney is not high on the priority list, and maybe a little scary. but it's something that we all need at some point. So by all means, do your homework. And if you need representation for car accident, wrongful death, medical malpractice, nursing home abuse, or estate planning, or any other matter, just give us a call at 256-534-3188, and you can email me at Dan, that is Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. God bless America.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Eagle Masonry and Installation. It's right there in the name. Eagle is your one-stop shop for block, stone, or brickwork, monument signs, and outdoor kitchens and fireplaces. Eagle also offers the finest craftsmanship in insulation, including fiberglass or spray foam insulation, and of course, insulation removal. Philip Love and his team have years of experience bringing the region the best in masonry and insulation services. For more information and a quote, visit insulatewitheagle.com or call 256-755-1556. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com.
What's happening? What's happening?
Welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond. What is happening is...
The NBA sucks. That's what's happening.
Yeah, just kind of watching it there and just kind of going like, where's the defense?
There isn't any.
Do they body out anybody anymore? Do you put an elbow into the chest?
you oop it to yourself and then get injured. That's basic. That's what basically happens.
I mean, if somebody would rebound and play defense, they could win because there ain't nobody doing that.
Yeah. But see, the problem is if you breathe on Joel Embiid, he thinks he got assaulted by a police officer. I don't know, man. There's no physicality in the game. Now, at one point in the 90s, they had too much physicality, but now they just don't have any. And if you try to play physical basketball, people just come apart. So there's really just no defense at all. But whatever. I mean, I've kept up with it only just seeing who's advancing. But I certainly.
Well, we keep up with it because it's on the TV in the mornings and we see the highlights.
Yeah, no doubt.
Indiana extinguishes Milwaukee. So Milwaukee is out. Indiana is on. I didn't even know. Is Rick Carlisle? And I asked, does Rick Carlisle still coach the Pacers?
I don't know.
He still coaches the Pacers.
Okay. He does, but I don't know half the coaches in the NBA because I don't keep up with it, so it doesn't matter to me.
That's about the only one. I mean, I know him, and Nick Nurse, of course. I know Nick Nurse.
Yeah.
So. And I mean, I know Nick Nurse. If Nick Nurse looked at me, he wouldn't remember me, but I do know Nick Nurse.
But you did.
I did have conversations with Nick Nurse in his very first collegiate head coaching job.
There you go.
He asked me if I wanted to play basketball for Grandview College, did Nick Nurse.
Right. I mean, right now the NBA is in such a spot, they're talking about Patrick Beverly hitting fans with a basketball.
Twice.
Because Patrick was obviously if you followed his career since Arkansas, it's been extremely roller coaster-ish. Really good role player, but he's had his issues and he's throwing basketballs at fans, man. Really endearing himself to folks.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's basically the playoffs.
That is summing up everything.
And then and said Sixers went home because the Knicks put them out. So the Sixers are done.
And New York wins that series in Philadelphia, by the way, last night.
Yeah, I think and Philly knew they were going to lose because they were trying to keep Knicks fans out, supposedly.
And there were still more Knicks fans there than 76ers fans.
Well, that shows you how much you love your squad.
I'm just, Patrick Beverly, after the game last night, would only do interviews with people that subscribe to his podcast.
Lord, his podcast brought to you by whatever meds he's on. Oh Lord,
my goodness. Anyway, hey, on to something that is relevant, and that is SEC baseball. This afternoon.
How much will they get in? I want to know that.
This afternoon at 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
Tennessee and Florida is set to play in Gainesville.
Okay.
And I assume this is Eastern time on the SEC Network page. I assume they list it as Eastern, so I assume it's 2 o'clock Central. I believe they're trying to play 2. They are. They're going to try to play 2 in Gainesville. And then you have Vanderbilt and Georgia at 5 o'clock.
Right.
5:30, you got Kentucky and Arkansas. That is a 2-8 matchup. Kentucky and Arkansas in Lexington.
Yeah, I mean, I told you Kentucky's kind of come back to the pack, but they're still tied for first. I mean, they were running away with it, halfway at the halfway point. But they've had a couple rough weekends.
You got Missouri hosting South Carolina, 15th ranked South Carolina. Then a series that means everything.
Yeah.
Auburn and Ole Miss. Because right now Auburn,
they're
on so thin ice that I mean
they got to win this series. They got to win this series.
Yeah, but they have Ole Miss, who, by the way, if Ole Miss could take 2 or even 3 from Auburn this weekend, that would put Ole Miss at 10 conference wins, and that is big because Mississippi State welcomes Alabama. Alabama comes in with 9 conference wins on the year. So, as much as we talk about teams not making it to Hoover, this is a big series for Alabama. It's a big series for Ole Miss because there's a lot of implications on getting to Hoover, not getting to Hoover, what seed, and everything between the two.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, this is big for Alabama because they're trying to stay out of the first, basically the play-in games, and you're also trying to get to Hoover. I mean, and again, you can only control what you can control, but you need to beat the teams below you. Now, Mississippi State's the team above them, so they can also gain on Mississippi State.
Yes.
But then after that,
there are 3 games behind Mississippi State going into the series.
Then you have your last home series with LSU, who's been disappointing. But again, like I've said before,
2 games below you right now in the standings.
Baseball, especially of the big 3, it doesn't matter if you spend more money than the other person.
LSU.
But I'm just saying I equate it because they have the same kind of system in effect for Major League Baseball. There's no salary cap.
Right.
You can go out and spend as much money as you want. You can be the Los Angeles Chokers and go out there and win a World Series in '88 with Oral Hershiser, which was gut-wrenchingly awful if you were an A's fan like I was. And then they don't win one. It takes nearly until 3 or 4 years ago. I mean, they've had the highest payroll in baseball for I don't know how many years in a row. And right now they're not very good either. So just because you look at the Yankees. I was talking about this last night. They haven't won one since 2009. The Mutts, give me a break with the Mutts. They've won 2 all time, I guess. So, I mean, just because you spent the most money.
They are 20-13.
Right. They have a winning record right now.
They're 4.5 games up on the Padres.
Right. Yeah. And good Lord, with the Padres. I mean, how much money they've spent.
This just in, the White Sox are up to 89 runs this year.
Wow.
They're up to 89 runs.
Jerry Reinsdorf ran Michael Jordan out of the NBA. Let that sink in. The Golden Goose, he and Jerry Krause.
Their run differential is -84.
I mean, I'm sorry. Jerry made so much money with the Jordan, but how can you tell him to leave?
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Get insights into the sports betting market with VSiN's betting splits. See where the money is and keep updated on how the market is reacting. Only at VSIN.com. Now, here are the latest lines from my guys in the desert.
Major League Baseball, the Atlanta Braves are in Los Angeles tonight to take on the Dodgers in a 3-game weekend series. Charlie Morton getting the start for the Braves tonight, 2-0 with the 3.60 ERA. The Dodgers countering with Gavin Stone, who's 2-1, has an ERA of 4.68. Atlanta minus a run and a half is plus 160 on the run line. The Dodgers getting a run and a half, minus 190. On the money line, Atlanta minus 105, the Dodgers minus 115. The over-under run total tonight in LA is 9.5. For vsin.com, I'm Tony Desiri, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
By now, you know about Eagle Masonry and Insulation, and maybe you know that Eagle also does landscaping and dirt work. But how about after paint work? Shower doors, shelving, and mirrors, all taken care of by Eagle, the same Eagle that takes care of all your masonry, insulation, and landscaping needs. Eagle brings the same level of expertise to all these disciplines, and they're ready to provide you with a free quote. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
Normally, when you call a roofing company, all you hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Since 1965, the folks at Fleming have been focused on what you need, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement, commercial or residential. And when it comes to storm damage, you want Fleming on your side. They know all the ins and outs of insurance claims and will guide you through the entire process. Log on FlemingHSV.com and book your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
Well, good morning. I am not Scott Tyson. My name is Steve Moulton, sitting in for someone who's about to get wet outside.
I forgot to tell Scott, though, about the horse that was named after me.
Excuse me?
Remember, it was knocking on the door
yes.
along the rail or whatever the hell its name was.
We talked to Ed DeRosa last night, a handicapper.
Yeah. I remember his name was Ed. I didn't remember the last name, but I'll let you inform everybody. He was very knowledgeable.
I think you just did.
Yeah.
I think you just did.
He was very knowledgeable, but I don't know a damn thing about horse racing.
The first one of the finish line wins.
I know that. But I don't know a damn thing about who's what and what's who and who you're betting on and all that. I mean, hey, but he knew it backwards, forwards, and
How about those Knicks? I mean, I'm telling you. How about those New York Knickerbockers?
I'm sure Stephen A.'s got to be happy with that.
Yeah, there's quite a few happy individuals in New York after a Game 6 victory in Philadelphia. And the 76ers exit stage left, and Joel Embiid ended up on the bench. Did he have
a hangnail?
Well,
I mean, he's made of glass.
So.
He and Anthony Davis should go one-on-one a lot.
So I watched that last night, and I also watched Game 6. Listen, I know we've got some hockey fans in this area for obvious reasons with the Huntsville Havoc. But Game 6 last night between the Boston Bruins and the Toronto Maple Leafs was just so there's several kinds of sports fans out there, and I realize everyone wants scoring goals, whatever. But man, I was just locked into that last night, and that thing was scoreless until the last minute of the second period. And the Toronto Maple Leafs are forcing a Game 7, and visions of last year are now creeping inside the Bruin faithful out there, which, by the way, part of that Bruin faithful includes our own Tom Abraham, who is a Bruins fan. So I'm sure he'll be talking a little bit about that once we hit the noon hour. But do you watch any NBA or NHL? Because I was locked in last night. Last night was just a fun night to watch.
Never watched a complete NHL hockey game in my life. I don't lie to people.
You're making me knock this morning, door knocker.
I'm just not a hockey fan, man. You know, I'm not a hockey guy.
Have you been to a Havoc game?
I think once. And you know
what? Next season,
and it was years ago. It was early.
Next season, you are going to be my color commentator for one game.
I mean,
that's going to happen.
I don't know a damn thing.
So, I mean, I'm not saying I know.
I think I've done a pretty good job for a non-hockey person.
I'm not saying I know everything, and I don't.
And I think I've been able to work my way through it. But again, I'm not a hockey person, man.
Well, last night's Game 6 to force a Game 7 was fantastic. It really was. But there was no Braves baseball last night. I honestly didn't check. Did Trash Pandas win last night? I know we aired the game as they were in Birmingham, and it's that series will continue in Birmingham. They actually play their games in Birmingham for the Barons. So that series will continue over on our sister station. It is not Zone 2. It is Dot 2.
Yeah.
So there's been some confusion on that. It is our sister station, which is our HD.2 channel, which is Talk Radio, WZZN. It's Fox News during the day, Fox Sports at night. That is Talk Radio WZZN. You can download that app, just Talk Radio WZZN. And don't forget about our app as well, 97.7 ESPN in your Google Marketplace or your Apple Store. Our latest zone deal has launched. I am going to check to see how well it's doing. Bigfoot Little Donuts has launched, and we're down to 47 of them, so a couple are out the door. You can get $50 worth for just $25 for Bigfoot Little Donuts, and Drew and I enjoyed some Bigfoot Little Donuts.
I had
yesterday.
5. That's it. 5 small donuts. That's all I had.
Hey, you sound like your doctor is listening.
I'm just saying, because when people are saying Drew enjoyed some donuts, I had just a few.
So, just in case Drew's doctor is listening, it was only
or
5.
Any family members or anything like that. I did not go overboard with the donuts, man.
So I kind of did, and
did not. I mean, I've I understand what I can and can't eat, and there was a few of them left like yesterday. And by the way, I will say, as I said on the drive last night, they were very good hot. They were very good cold.
Yeah.
They were very good no matter what. I had the last few, and I guess they were the French toast ones.
Yes,
they were good.
That's kind of my go-to is the French toast ones.
And I've had Bigfoot Little Donuts before. It's been a while, but they're a great sponsor, and they were in front of me yesterday, and so I hadn't had some in a while, so I definitely partook in a few, and they were outstanding.
Yes.
So everybody, please go to our wzzn.halfoffdeals.com and take advantage of that. As Steve said, 47 are left. There's already been several out the door. Please partake in those, and you will not be disappointed.
Birmingham was a winner last night. 5-3 was that final score over our Rocket City Trash Pandas. That series will continue tonight, 7 p.m. first pitch. Late night baseball going on tonight as the Braves are out in Los Angeles. For you older school Braves fans out there, I can remember those runs, especially in the early 90s when the Braves were a part of the NL West back in the day, and this would be the norm and not the usual, where those late nights, especially like the last weekend of the 91 year in which the Braves and the Giants and the Dodgers were all involved in that division race.
Yeah.
And those were some late nights back in the early 90s.
I remember when
that run from worst to first.
And I mean, look, that's where my hatred for the Dodgers comes from. It comes from 1988, and then it comes from back when I was growing up because the Braves and the Dodgers were in the same division, so you always hated
Wrap your head
Los
around
Angeles.
that, newbies out there.
Yeah.
The Braves and the NL West.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Well, so were the Falcons. The
Yeah.
Falcons were also in the NL West.
Because I just remember.
Or I'm sorry, just the West.
When the Braves turned it around from 90 to 91, like you said, Steve, they were in a race with the Darryl Strawberry and the hated Dodgers. And they had to put him away, and a lot of those games were late, as you said.
Very late.
And then the Braves,
it was, but it is hard not to like Tommy Lasorda back in the day.
No, I mean, I don't have anything against Tommy Lasorda.
Lasagna was fun to be around and just talk to.
I mean, Lasorda, he was a great character in the game of baseball. They're out there, and look, Sandy Koufax is a hell of a player. We know about the influence of Jackie Robinson, what he did.
Certainly.
I mean, there's a lot of great Dodgers, out there. There's no question about it that were great players that played the game the right way. Vin Scully was an institution.
Oh my gosh.
Everybody knows that. The smoothest broadcaster probably that ever lived. I just, again, it's more about the hat and just and not like in the city of Los Angeles. Not wanting to ever live in the city of Los Angeles.
You ever been to Los Angeles?
No, don't really care. Maybe at some point I might visit.
There's this little thick layer of
but
fog that goes
I'm
right
sure
over
as
the
hell
entire...
I'm not going to live there. I mean,
Yeah.
I might visit for a few days, but I don't want to live there. I don't want to pay $7.29 for gas. It just. But now visit, live never. So, But I don't like any Los Angeles team.
What's the furthest west you've ever been?
Furthest west I've ever been? That's a great question. Probably Dallas, I guess, Fort Worth.
You're about to go there again?
Yeah, I guess. I've never been on the West Coast. Never. I know Scott's been to Oregon several times now for obvious reasons.
Yep.
His son Landon and his track career and being a student. So he's visited his son. His son seems to like Oregon. I've always heard Oregon's a beautiful place.
It is.
I've never been.
It
I'd
is.
rather visit there than Los Angeles.
It's very, very green. Hey, there's a lot of rain up there.
Yeah, I mean, it's very scenic. I would much rather visit Oregon or Arizona than California. But I mean, it is what it is.
So Dallas is the furthest west you've ever been?
I believe, yeah. If I'm thinking about it.
Just in case our boss is listening, Wes, I've never been to Hawaii. So,
my parents have been to Hawaii, but I didn't go on that trip.
If you'd like to send us to Hawaii, I'm okay with that. Wes.
I haven't. No, I did not go. No, if someone wants to ask, I did not go to either of the Alabama games in Hawaii. So didn't make that journey.
Now, I've always wanted to go to the Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
And I've not been to the Rose Bowl.
Now, Scott's been to the Rose Bowl.
Yeah,
He's talked about it.
That is kind of a bucket list deal for me.
Yeah, it's very scenic.
But that would require a trip to California.
Yeah.
And
wouldn't mind staying for a few days. Just get me the hell out. Like my dude Ryan Fowler. He stayed for a week.
Yeah, he did, and then got pneumonia.
I was going to say he got
very
the
California
sick.
COVID.
Yeah.
But
he was
I'm
very,
laughing
very sick
because
when he came back.
He's fine.
He's fine now.
He's fine.
But he got very, very sick over there in the land of the libs. Like, shocker.
I did notice last night that the series split there in Madison between Thompson
and Bob Jones. It was two great games to be expected. Great programs, great coaches. We appreciate them for joining us yesterday. It was a 5-3 Bob Jones winning game 1, a 7-6 Thompson winning game 2. So tentatively 4:30 today. They will decide it. It's going to be very exciting. A great a high school baseball game, man. So we'll see if they're able to get it in with all this weather.
Yeah.
Please pay attention to both the Twitter accounts for Thompson Baseball and especially Bob Jones. They do an amazing job keeping you updated on everything that's going on. with those series. And then when we gave a big shout out to James Clemens this morning because they swept Hoover.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
So that's awesome for that program, and we certainly we congratulate those student athletes and the coaches and everyone there, man. So we hope to speak with and talk some James Clemens baseball next week, as they will. If Thompson wins, I think it would be at Thompson. Or potentially, at James Clemens, there'd be a chance it would be.
Yeah.
And then, but if Bob Jones wins this, it would be the entire city of Madison there. But it would be at Bob Jones because Bob Jones won the area. So, but it's still a great opportunity for James Clemens.
By the way, that'd be a lot of fun if it was the Patriots and the Jets.
Oh, it would be tremendous. Bob Jones won the area this year. Bob Jones has won the area the last several years, but James Clemens' program just keeps getting better, And anytime you beat an Adam Mosley coach team and who's a state championship coach who built Grissom into a powerhouse when he was here and is a Grissom graduate, you've beat a really good program. And so congratulations to the Jets, and we were giving them their kudos. Congratulations to Whitesburg Christian Academy. They didn't win game 2, but they split, and so they're hosting this Red Bay series, this quarterfinal. Tentatively, they're supposed to play, in the late afternoon today. We'll see if that game gets played, but they've got a chance to advance to the semifinals as well. Hartselle already swept. Death Taxes, William Booth. They sweep Athens. They throw a no-hitter in game 1.
Really?
The number 1 team in 6A. Defending champs. Those guys are just tremendous. Oxford is the defending champs, but it's a program that's been a perennial power under William Booth, and certainly have won, I want to say, 9 state championships under his leadership. But again, just a tremendous program over there at Hartselle. And certainly Oxford is a team that they may end up playing in the semifinals. Oxford split with Mountain Brook, and they've got to have a game 3. But again, and Oxford, has always had a really good baseball program as well. They've just been a power.
Well, they're known for, not just baseball athletic prowess, but it seems like they're good in every sport there in Oxford with the Yellow Jackets. But
have you seen their facilities?
Yeah, well, it's my favorite press box that I've ever been in. And I mean across the board, my favorite press box. It's those garage door handles that you go up. It was brilliant, whoever did it. And I just, to this very day, it is still my favorite press box that I've ever been in. When people ask me, Oxford, Alabama. Anyway, phone line's open to you.
And that's not even counting Chocolaca.
And that's fantastic as well with Chocolaca right there. A tough one for the UAH softball team yesterday at Chocolaca as they played the number 1 overall seed and fell by a run. 3-2 is that final, so they'll have to turn around. And you want to talk about jamming something up with the weather going on. The Gulf South Conference softball tournament down at Chocolaca. We'll see how much softball is played. First game is scheduled for 10 a.m. this morning down at Chocolaca, but we shall see, as now the Chargers are in the win or go home bracket, literally.
Yep, I was right. 9-time state champion 2 years ago, their last title.
Oh, this Oxford?
No, I'm talking about Hartselle.
Oh, Hartselle,
in
okay.
2022 under Coach William Booth, and he's been in I believe, the head coach since 1988, and what a program he's built over there, what longevity he's had, the all-time winningest baseball coach in the history of the state. And like we said, if they won it this year, that would be number 10. But they've won 9 state championships.
Wow.
Amazing. He, basically William Booth and Sammy Dunn. That's your 2, goats of all time in high school baseball. What Sammy Dunn did, winning, I think he won at one time 9 out of 10 at Vestavia. And in those days it was 6A. There was no 7A. But Coach Dunn, we lost him way too soon. But I was privileged to watch his teams play back when I was in high school and in earlier adulthood. And wow, they were a machine. But yeah, William Booth, what a run he's had. They won it all. They had the controversial loss in 2021 on the appeal, which still to this day I don't know how that happened.
I forgot about that story.
Yeah, but then they bounced back and won it the next year.
No,
they were on a mission.
I can't remember that story from 21.
Yeah, they tagged up, looked like they won the state championship, and then they appealed, and then they waved it off and lost in extra innings. So.
Oh, that's.
And I believe it was against Faith Academy. But then they bounced back the next year, because this was 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Then 2 years ago they won it all. They were on a mission. Last year Oxford won it, but Oxford, according to the people that I talked to, they were. I didn't get a chance to see them, but they were the best team in the state, regardless of class. I mean, they were loaded, and that's certainly going to be a great Game 3. Oxford hosting Mountain Brook, tentatively, as you said. Because pretty much, it sounds like around the entire state, it's going to be tough.
Yeah.
To play baseball right now.
Let's take our first time out. We've got time to take your phone calls on the other side. 256-576-4977.
.97.7 ESPN The Zone is the Tennessee Valley's #1 destination for the finest in sports talk all day long. Tune in to Talkin' Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond each morning at 7. Then, The Morning Blitz with Captain Cool and the Bandy Man. At noon, it's The Tom Abraham Show. Followed by Paul Feinbaum and The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. The Zone is also your home for University of Alabama and UAH Sports, plus the Atlanta Braves and the High School Sports Streaming Network. And sister station Talk Radio WZZN has Trash Pandas action with Josh Carey all season long. 97.7 ESPN The Zone and Talk Radio WZZN. Listen on the air or download the apps and take them with you everywhere. 97.7 ESPN The Zone is the Tennessee Valley's #1 destination for the finest in sports talk all day long. Tune in to Talkin' Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond each morning at 7. Then, The Morning Blitz with Captain Cool and the Bandy Man. At noon, it's The Tom Abraham Show. Followed by Paul Feinbaum and The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. The Zone is also your home for University of Alabama and UAH Sports, plus the Atlanta Braves and the High School Sports Streaming Network. And sister station Talk Radio WZZN has Trash Pandas action with Josh Carey all season long. 97.7 ESPN The Zone and Talk Radio WZZN. Listen on the air or download the apps and take them with you everywhere. 97.7 ESPN The Zone is the Tennessee Valley's #1 destination for the finest in sports talk all day long. Tune in to Talkin' Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond each morning at 7. Then, The Morning Blitz with Captain Cool and the Bandy Man. At noon, it's The Tom Abraham Show. Followed by Paul Feinbaum and The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. The Zone is also your home for University of Alabama and UAH Sports, plus the Atlanta Braves and the High School Sports Streaming Network. And sister station Talk Radio WZZN has Trash Pandas action with Josh Carey all season long. 97.7 ESPN The Zone and Talk Radio WZZN. Listen on the air or download the apps and take them with you everywhere. 97.7 ESPN The Zone is the Tennessee Valley's #1 destination for the finest in sports talk all day long. Tune in to Talkin' Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew.
Machines making all kinds of ice, cubed, nugget, and top hat. How is that for variety? Owen Home Appliance Center believes in community involvement as well, sponsoring youth teams, race cars, and an annual Easter egg hunt. Quality products, quality pricing, quality service is the name of the game for Owen Home Appliance Center. Find them in Somerville and Lacey Springs and online at owenappliance.com.
It is a Friday morning on Talkin' Ball. Drew DeArmond, Steve Moulton back here with you. Good friend of the program, Josh Pate, had this to say
Andrew hits me and he says, how long do you think people will continue to overrate Alabama due to the Saban effect, even though he's retired now? Now, Andrew, I trust that you've watched the show or listened to the show for a while. And proactively, I thank you if you have. You know my rule about being overrated. Anytime you call someone overrated, I don't disagree immediately, but I do ask, what are they rated and where should they be rated? And if you're telling me they should be rated lower, who should be rated ahead of them? Now, you presented a hypothetical, so we don't know where Bama is going to be rated any given week in the future because the games haven't been played yet. I can tell you I don't have a lot of concern about this. I think the general public or the AP poll or the JP poll or the College Football Playoff Committee, I think they'll handle this pretty much right. I think the opposite has a better percentage chance of happening. The opposite being the first time they show a weakness, the first time they show a vulnerability, under Saban it would have just been, oh, well, no one's perfect. They lost a game. They'll still make the playoff. Well, now that Saban's gone and everyone's looking for cracks in the foundation, every single flaw, I think, will be turned up to the nth degree. And I think any loss, I mean, can you imagine if they lose 31-21 to Georgia in week 4? And they do play this year, by the way, week 4. Dude, do you know what the talk will be? The talk will be, now that Saban's gone, Bama's run is over, Kirby and Georgia have permanently ascended to the head throne, the head seat at the table in the SEC. You know that will happen. And it's in Tuscaloosa, too. So you know that'll happen. I think that the SEC, I remember, so the past few months, I think gave us proof of this. Proof that people are going to freak out anytime Bama shows the least bit of vulnerability was found in January. Remember January, Kalen DeBoer takes the job, and what happened? That 30-day portal window opened up. Caleb Downs jumps in it. A couple other guys did. One of them has since come back. And everyone started taking it upon themselves, who hadn't been able to trash talk Bama for like a decade and a half, to say, oh, it's here now. Here comes that Berlin Wall crashing to the ground. Well, since then, they stabilized things. They righted the ship. But I think that was an early preview of, even though Bama was only suffering something that would happen to anyone in their circumstance, you saw how people responded. A lot about what Saban did is still there, by the way. So if you want to call it the Saban effect, well, a lot of the players he recruited are still there. Certainly the program he built is still there. That place is immaculate. It's incredible. Kalen DeBoer is a stud in his own right, I think. But it would also be short-sighted to suggest nothing that was great about Saban is still there. The man himself's not the head coach, but it's not like he took his ball and went home. It's not like he said, y'all go find a new building to train in. Y'all go find a new athletics department budget. I'm taking all this stuff. Hey, 20,000 students who enrolled here over the span of 15 years because I'm here. Go back to New Jersey. Start over from scratch, Alabama. A lot of that's still there. So, yeah, maybe there is a Saban effect. Maybe there's a Kalen DeBoer effect. Now, if you believe that they won't drop off much, their over-under win total is 9.5. To win the SEC championship, they're plus 950. It's really, really good money to be made there if you believe in Alabama.
There you go. That is Josh Pate.
Well, I just say this. If Kalen DeBoer does the job I think he can do, there are going to be a lot of people in therapy. I'm just saying.
It is set up as well as for anybody. I mean, if you really it's all about, and most coaches of high character try to leave it better than they found it. Leave it better than they found it. Well, there is no doubt that Nick Saban has left this immaculately made. And for someone with the kind of pedigree and background and resume of a Kalen DeBoer, this is really set up for success.
It is. I mean, it's in much better shape. It's all about leave it a lot better than you found it. Now, there's some places around here that didn't happen, but there is a University of Alabama football program. You can't say that. I mean, again, his final season. Look, a part of what Josh Payton mentioned in his commentary about people saying that it's over for Alabama. No disrespect, but Georgia thought it was going into last year. They thought the three-peat was just a coronation and that they had beaten Alabama.
That was quietly talked about a lot.
That they had beaten Alabama twice in a row. not. I will say this: they acted like they beat Alabama twice in a row because Alabama didn't make the playoff in the second for the repeat.
The only caveat to that I would say is there was more confidence because of what happened in Indianapolis.
Because they did beat Alabama in
Atlanta.
21 the last time they had played, and they won. They did that for their first national championship since in 1980.
Yeah.
And then they won the net, and they repeated, but they didn't have to face Alabama. And they kind of felt like, I think, that they had gotten over that hump. But then Nick Saban and Alabama beat them in the SEC championship game.
Well, right now, I'm telling you, heading into this season, right now, there is a lot riding on Kirby because right now it's the narrative for Georgia fans is life with a mailman and life without a mailman.
Well, and I think there'll be some confidence from the Georgia side coming into the rematch in Tuscaloosa just simply because Nick Saban's not there. And I understand it, and that's where some of that confidence is coming from. Josh Pate was talking about it.
Yeah.
I've had a bunch of Tennessee fans coming at me about, well, you better enjoy the fact that you went on your 17-year run because he's not there anymore.
Who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I had somebody we had a caller this morning, Mark from Spring Hill. He wanted to know what I thought about, Kalen DeBoer winning a national championship in the first 3 years. I don't know. You haven't seen him coach one game yet. And so
there's more tickets into the dance as well that needs to be factored in.
And he
as
said,
well.
what should the expectations be for year one for DeBoer? And I said the floor, and I believe this, the floor should be making the playoff.
Now, I did ask a buddy of mine who's in Vegas, had the line been different, had Nick Saban stayed, the line for Bama win total is 9.5 this year. And he is of the opinion it would have been 10.5, not 9.5, so one game difference.
I can deal with that. I mean,
yeah.
Just because of his track record.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and we don't know DeBoer's track record at Alabama. We've seen it at Washington. So, all I'll say is I think a reasonable, and I think it is reasonable, a reasonable expectation for where the program is and what he's inherited would be to make the playoff. I'm not even saying win the SEC championship.
Make the playoff.
Or a national championship.
Just make the playoff.
But in a 12-team playoff, who would I take? Kalen DeBoer or Lane Kiffin? Everybody knows who I'm taking 10 times.
I would too.
And I don't care that he's not playing Alabama this year. I would take Alabama.
Let's go ahead and take our next break. We will shift to the diamond, the Soggy Diamond, coming up next right here on Talkin' Ball.
97.7 ESPN The Zone is the Tennessee Valley's #1 destination for the finest in sports talk all day long. Tune in to Talkin' Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond each morning at 7. Then, the Morning Blitz with Captain Cool and the Bandyman. At noon, it's the Tom Abraham Show, followed by Paul Feinbaum and The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. The Zone is also your home for University of Alabama and UAH sports, plus the Atlanta Braves and the High School Sports Streaming Network. And sister station Talk Radio WZZN has Trash Pandas action with Josh Carey all season long. 97.7 ESPN The Zone and Talk Radio WZZN. Listen on the air or download the apps and take them with you everywhere.
Apparently utility involvement there, so it's going to take a while to get all that cleared up. Eastern Bypass in Little Cove reported with an injury. Got one on the Parkway southbound near Meridian. I don't think it's an injury type, but it's going to cause some traffic problems. With more than 30 years experience, D&L Refrigeration can save you money on those heating and air conditioning repairs. 256-652-1207. State license 08091. Captain Nick in the Skywatch Traffic Center.
If you enjoy 97.7 ESPN The Zone for all the best in sports talk, you'll love Talk Radio WZZN on 97.7 HD2. Don't have an HD radio? No worries. Download the app by searching for Talk Radio WZZN on your phone or visit the website at Talk Radio WZZN. Talk Radio WZZN features the best in talk from Fox News Radio during the day, plus Bill O'Reilly and his No Spin News at 6. Your home of the Rocket City Trash Pandas is Talk Radio WZZN.
The company is Eagle Masonry and Insulation, but did you know they're also Eagle Landscaping and Dirt Work? Eagle can take care of all your landscaping needs, including irrigation, sod work, and planting, both plants and trees. On the dirt work side, Eagle can grade and build your pads, haul dirt in or out, and even do erosion control. Philip Love and his team can do it all for you. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
From heirloom diamonds to contemporary jewels, Loring & Company is the place to find something truly special. Whether shopping for a diamond ring for that once-in-a-lifetime occasion or marking a milestone birthday or personal achievement with a Rolex watch, you'll find just the thing in our edit of the world's most sought-after brands, including David Yurman, Roberto Coin, Marco Bicego, and Fopay. Expect a treasure trove of the world's most unique, even breathtaking earrings, rings, necklaces, and bracelets, making choosing just one piece a challenge in itself. Loring & Company Jewelers on Airport Road.
It is Talkin' Ball on a soggy Friday morning, and hopefully the raindrops will dodge enough where we can get in quite a few vital games today, Drew DeArmond.
We certainly hope so.
Absolutely.
That's our hope. We're hopeful for Bob Jones. We're hopeful for Whitesburg Christian Academy. No doubt about it, across the street from me. And we're very hopeful for Westminster Christian Academy, who is going to a Game 3 against North Jackson. They are trying to make the Final Four. They have had an unbelievable season. The Bob Jones Patriots are ranked number 1 in 7A. They are 39-7, and one of those 7 losses was to Westminster Christian Academy. So Westminster Christian Academy has a special group. And this has been a great year to be a Wildcat, period. I mean, I think that, we know Louis LeBlanc, great friend of our station. I think they had the best year ever in the history of that school. They went to the semifinals
that was a
in
fun
football.
Team.
I mean, we know during his 10-year run what Ronnie Stapler accomplished for the basketball program. We know what their soccer program has done, especially on the ladies' side, defending state champs. I mean, and what Meg Paparella and the volleyball program did for 2 straight years, winning state titles. It's been a great time to be a part of this athletic program, and now baseball is getting the spotlight, and we are very honored via Zoom, because we've been doing that the last couple of days, and we are modernizing what we're doing, and we appreciate Bailey in behind the glass for doing that. But we have Jason Anderson, the head baseball coach of the Westminster Christian Academy Wildcats, who's joining us to talk about this hopeful Game 3 here at Westminster later today, and he's with us now. Good morning, Coach. You're with Drew and Steve. How are you?
I'm good, guys. Good morning. Thanks for having me on today.
Oh, yeah, you sound great. We don't have a monitor in front of us. Hopefully you're looking great on the
dry.
Zoom in the morning.
Looking dry.
Now, look, I have a face for radio, so I don't know about all this Zoom stuff. I see it a lot. I see myself. I don't really like watching or listening to myself, and some other people probably don't like that either. But anyway, we're glad to have you. I know it was an emotional doubleheader last night. I know you probably felt like you let one get away in Game 1, but a great response from your players in Game 2, Coach.
Yeah, I was really proud of how they responded in Game 2. Like you said, we were up 5-0 in Game 1, and just kind of let that one slide away. Didn't throw enough strikes on the day, but our guys came out and responded Game 2. I felt like we swung it well all day, both games, and played good defense. And then obviously threw it really well Game 2. Jackson, he went 6 innings, I think, struck out 8, gave up 4 hits. So threw it well, and so came back, tied it up, and gave ourselves a chance to go into a Game 3 today.
Mm-hmm. Tell me a little bit about your squad, Coach. I have not seen your team. Just be honest with you. What do you like most about this team this year?
I'll tell people, I love our guys, man. I've got 8 seniors.
Wow, very experienced group, yeah.
We've had them for a while. I've been with them for a while. And they just, I tell them all the time, man, I love the practice part with them and the development part and the being able to pour into them spiritually and mentally, and just as much as I do the games. And so they're just a fun group to be around. They know how to do it. They know what we want to do. They know what we're about. And so it's just a joy to be able to go out and coach them. God's really blessed us with a great group of young men, and we're just honored to take the field every day and glad to be a part of their lives.
Well, and Coach, I know it's big too. I mean, you're always going to have moments of adversity, but to have the disappointment of game one when you lose a 5-0 lead and you drop it 13-11 because of, I believe I was told, 11 walks. Like you said, you didn't throw enough strikes, but to bounce back to run rule them 12-2, pardon me, in 6 innings, that's significant. That's a great response from your guys, and that just goes to show you the competitive spirit that they have.
It does. I feel like that we're always going to have a chance, that they're not going to go away. And even in game one, when we got down, 4-5, they still kept finding a way. And even going in the bottom of the 7th, I mean, it was 13-10, and we had runners on base with, tying runs coming up and winning runs on deck. And so you always got to feel like that our guys are going to fight and compete to the very end. And that's what I love about them. And, North Jackson's got a good baseball team, and they're coached well. And so I knew it was going to be a really good series. And, you got to be able to go in and compete and give yourselves a chance. And I felt like that we did that. And like you said earlier, to be able to respond, because baseball throws a lot of adversity and failure your way, and your response to it is really critical to your success, and feel like our guys responded really well.
Well, to that effect, tell me your thought process heading into this deciding game today, potentially, Coach.
Yeah, so I feel really good about it. I feel like we've got some guys available to throw that have, pitched for us all year. I feel like we got 3 or 4 guys that we can run out there that are going to compete and give us a chance. And then hopefully we continue to swing it and play clean defensively like we did yesterday. That's the one thing about our lineup. Our guys compete at the plate. They're going to put the ball in play and hopefully when they do make outs, they're hard outs. And we've worked really hard at that. And so I feel like they're going to spray the ball around and give us a chance and the opportunity to score some runs.
Well, and I would be remiss. I mean, you mentioned it at the start of our segment. Coach, and talk about those 8 seniors that you have, because especially at a 4A community school like a Westminster, and a baseball team, that's a lot of seniors to have, a lot of experience. And as you said, you've very likely been around these young men since with a school that's set up the way Westminster is through their entire process. A lot of those young people probably and those players have been enrolled in the school since elementary. But talk about these 8 seniors that you have and what they've meant to this program.
Well, I think everything rises and falls on leadership, and those guys are the exact example of that. And, I feel like I could miss practice, and those guys are going to run it just fine without me. And at the end of the day, it's a credit to their buy-in 5-6 years ago. And they're just a fun group. And like you said, a lot of them have been in this school for a long time. Not only them, but their parents and the support that they give. It's just a really neat sense of community. Like I said, it's just an honor and a privilege for me to be able to have a group of young men, like that. You don't ever want to quit coaching those kind of guys. And when you have a chance to get 8 of them together, it's a special thing. I mean, you got kids, Jackson Lang and Lawson Collier, Lipinski's, and the Good brothers, Riley Friend, Zeke Carwile, Drew McDonald, those guys. I mean, it's just a fun group, man, and it's an honor to coach them.
Sounds like it's a vocal group from how you're talking there, Coach.
Yeah, they are. They're a pretty fun group now. We've actually got a team hamster, and yeah, they showed up with it one day, and the thing about it is the amazing thing about the whole thing is they carry it to the games, and it shows up at school, and it's still alive, guys. So I mean, it's still alive. It's amazing.
I mean, that's amazing. That's something you don't hear every day. Now, I could see a stuffed hamster, but a real one.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, this is a real one. His name's Randy, and Randy makes all the road events.
I was going to say, even the road events.
Yeah. So the fact that he has not been
pampered hamster.
Yeah, but that's just the kind of group they are. We've got all our 8 seniors on a banner as you enter the stadium, and Randy's got his own banner too. So.
Well, and now via our friend Jimmy Lay, we have a picture of Randy.
Oh, yes. Fantastic!
Yeah.
Wow, that is a pampered hamster.
Yeah,
he is.
I mean, his condo is his cage is probably better than my condo.
Wow.
That's
I agree with that.
more
He's
my
got it pretty
fault.
good.
Yeah, I mean, this is pretty good right here. Wow.
Well, now we've unlocked the key to this team.
That's right, man. That's right. So, but that's just a testament. That's the kind of guys they are, man. They're a fun group, and this game you can't get too high or too low, and they kind of keep it that way, and so it's a great attitude and atmosphere to be a part of.
How many walk-offs has your team been a part of this year? Both ways, Coach.
Let's see, walk-offs. I'm trying to think. I don't know. We've had a lot of good games and big wins.
Especially against Bob Jones. I mean, that's significant. When you beat the number one team in 7A.
That's significant.
Yeah, that was a good win for us. We went over there earlier this year, and they beat us pretty good. Then it kind of got to the point where we'd gotten some rain, and we were looking for a game, and Coach Smith was looking for a game, and we scheduled one on that Thursday, and it just happened to work out. And we went over there and played well. And you guys, I don't have to talk to you about their program. He does a phenomenal job, and they've got phenomenal players. And but our guys went over there and played well, and I feel like we try to play a tough schedule just to prepare us for times like this, and I feel like it pays off.
Yeah, no question. And Coach, what was the key to swinging the bat as well as you did last night in both games against I always say this, when you get to the quarterfinals of the baseball playoffs, I remember following Huntsville High when they won it all back in 2011, and quite frankly, I felt like their quarterfinal and semifinal series was tougher than the finals against Baldwin County. So a lot of times it's about who you play and who you match up with. But what was the key to swinging the bat so well against a quality team like North Jackson?
I think it was just really our approach. We've worked a lot on our approach and our mindset and what we're trying to do at the plate, and our guys have really bought into that. I mean, the Smith kid from North Jackson's a really good arm, and we did a good job with him. I mean, he finished up with like 117 pitches, and he competes. He's a competitor, but we grinded out some ABs, and I felt like we gave ourselves a chance with him. And even going back to last week facing Chatterton, who's an SEC arm and a future draft pick, and our guys grinded out ABs and battled and competed, and so I feel like they're going to continue to do that. And for me, more it's about a mindset and approach really than it is anything. I think the swing takes care of itself if you get that in order, and our guys have really bought into that.
So one thing that at least that I remember seeing in high school baseball and seeing quite a bit is guys up there hacking, of just patience at the plate is pretty hard to learn. How have your guys handled that patience at the plate, you think, Coach?
I think they, and like you said, it is easy for guys to get up there and hack and kind of lose their sense of what they're trying to do. And there are certain counts and areas where we really want guys up there trying to do damage. Our goal every time is just to hit the ball hard. And, I tell our guys all the time, if you line out 4 times, you've really had a good day. You may be 0 for 4, but if you hit the ball hard 4 times, you've done your job. We just really focus a lot on hitting the ball where it's pitched and trying to do it really hard. And when you put the ball in play, you give yourselves a chance. And if you can make hard outs and continue to put it in play and put pressure on defense, balls are going to fall and you're going to give yourself a chance to score some runs. And so I feel like we've done that, and hopefully we'll continue to do so.
And then, Coach, what is the contingency plan now? As Steve said, hopefully it's going to clear out for the weather and you guys will be able to play. But what is the time for the first pitch for now, and then what is the contingency plan for the weather? I know it's hard for you to control that, but what is the plan right now?
Right. So obviously we've got the field tarp right now. Right now it's set for 5. I'll talk with North Jackson's coach a little bit later this morning, and we'll see what it's going to do. And obviously, if we can't play today, then we'll find a window tomorrow, hopefully, where the rain is cleared out. You've got to really, you got to play today or tomorrow, because, you got whoever moves on, the semifinal series is setting there next week at probably Thursday, Friday, or even Wednesday, Thursday. So you don't want to get into a Monday scenario for anybody. And so that's kind of what we're looking at right now. We want to play today, but if we can't play today for sure, find a window tomorrow when hopefully this rain gets out of here. Hopefully it'll break off today and we can get it in today.
And then, Coach, for the listeners, and I mean, I know you have quite a lot of community support. I know North Jackson supports their athletics, but if you want to see some great baseball at 5 o'clock today, are the tickets on GoFan and at the gate? How do they attend the game?
Yeah, they can get them on GoFan. You can get them at the gate. Either way, they'll be available. And we had a great crowd, a lot of people out last night on both sides, and looking forward to another. It was a fun environment. It's what high school playoff baseball is about. And looking forward to another great environment for Game 3.
Is this the first team hamster that you've had to coach?
It
is he hard to coach? Is Randy hard to coach?
Randy's got it pretty good. Like you guys said, I mean, sometimes I think his living quarters are better than mine, and he's fed well and taken care of. So he's got a pretty good gig. As long as they don't drop him or lose him, he'll be okay.
No, he'll be great.
That's the secret right there.
Yeah. We hope to see Randy in Montgomery. But,
yes, sir. He'll be there for sure. If we're there, he's there.
Oh, no. We want to see the Westminster Wildcats win this series and move on, of course, to the semifinals and continue this journey with this outstanding senior class, 8 deep. A lot of these guys multi-sport athletes as well, and are a big reason Westminster Christian Academy athletics have been so good. As we just mentioned at the start of the conversation, in the past few years, and that's across the board, both on the ladies' side and, of course, the men's side. And we've been talking to Jason Anderson, the head baseball coach of the Westminster Christian Academy Wildcats. Coach, we appreciate the time. Hopefully we can dodge the rain. You guys can get this game in advance, but we appreciate you for taking a few minutes to update us on Westminster Christian Academy baseball. We appreciate Jimmy Lay as well, and, of course, making us aware of Randy. And hopefully Randy is going to have a couple more rounds of baseball to attend with his teammates.
Yes, for sure, guys. Well, I'm very thankful for you having us and what you do for high school sports in the state of Alabama, and it's just an honor to be on, and God bless you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate it.
Jason Anderson done a great job with that program over at Westminster.
By the way, average lifespan of a hamster, 1.5 to 2 years.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
I that's a strict Google right there.
No,
I
didn't Google that, but
take that for what it's worth.
But I think Randy is living the life.
Yeah, Randy's clearly living the life.
Yeah.
Let's take our final time out. We'll wrap things up here. Maybe more hamster talk on the other side.
97.7 ESPN The Zone is the Tennessee Valley's #1 destination for the finest in sports talk all day long. Tune in to Talkin' Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond each morning at 7. Then, the Morning Blitz with Captain Cool and the Bandy Man. At noon, it's the Tom Abraham Show, followed by Paul Feinbaum and The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. The Zone is also your home for University of Alabama and UAH sports, plus the Atlanta Braves and the High School Sports Streaming Network. And sister station Talk Radio WZZN has Trash Pandas action with Josh Carey all season long. 97.7 ESPN The Zone and Talk Radio WZZN. Listen on the air or download the apps and take them with you everywhere.
Talent, Huntsville.snelling.com. Captain Nick in the Skywatch Traffic Center.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com. Next time you're online looking for landscaping inspiration, open Instagram and check out Southern Gent Landscaping. They can help make your yard your dream outdoor oasis. Southern Gent Landscaping can handle it all, from landscape maintenance and installation to irrigation and hardscapes, even AstroTurf. Turn your yard into a landscape you'll be proud to show off. Call Southern Gent Landscaping at 256-509-6088. 509-6088. Southern Gent Landscaping. Professional landscaping performed with satisfaction guaranteed. When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here have trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
All right, we've got plenty to get into here in our final segment. In fact, maybe the future of watching sports as well. But I did want to at least sneak in a little more hamster talk for you.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, we're that channel now for you. All hamster, all the time. As Chad Guatney, who you will hear on the Tom Abraham Show, informed me he had a hamster in college named Randy.
Nice.
Named Randy. Is that the go-to name for a hamster?
I don't know. Is it?
I've never had a hamster, so I don't know. Now, my brother in college, when he was at Auburn, had one of those dragon things, the lizards that I can't even remember what they are now.
Yeah.
But I don't even, it was probably Randy. I'm guessing the name was probably Randy.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move forward. There is a real chance, it's starting to get talked more and more about, that the NBA is going to go behind a paywall. And I mean for all the games. That
Gosh,
we're going
I
to
could
see,
save a ton of money, man.
That we're going to see. But I'm telling you, this is now going to start with the NBA, but this is a trickle effect. We certainly do see behind a paywall on the college football side a good bit with ESPN Plus. I get that. But that means inside the NBA could be on the verge of not being there in TNT. And the reports have that Charles Barkley, if he is a free agent, would reportedly be worth $20 million a year. And I think he'd be worth every penny.
He could certainly help ESPN get rid of some people.
He's not going to go to ESPN. ESPN actually makes them work.
Yeah, well, it's ESPN's NBA coverage is putrid.
I have no. You're right. Yeah,
it's awful. It's not even watchable.
So I do watch a lot of sports with music on in the background. I do.
I don't watch a lot of ESPN programming now. Just games.
Games. I watch a lot of games.
That's all it is. The other stuff besides Mel Kiper is awful.
Have a great weekend.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none. Whether you